Namaste. Welcome to 19 out of 100 of our Rāmānuja Refutation series. We continue to expose Ramanuja's commentary on 212, where he proceeds to say, Kincha Paramapurushascha Idanintana Guru Paramparacha Advitīya Atmaswarupanishchaye Sati Anuvartamane Abhibheda Jnanam Swarupanishchaya Rupam Advitīyam Atmajnanam Kasmai Upadishati Iti Vaktavyam Pratibimba Vada Pratiyamanebyah Arjunadibhyah iti chet na etadupapadyate nahi anunmattaha kopi manikripana darpanadishu pratiyamaneshu swatma pratibimbeshu tesham swatmanaha ananyatvam jananya tebhyaha kimapi artham upadishati. In simple words, he says that when there's only one real thing, and then this is understood by the reflection theory, then how can the teacher teach his own reflections? And if you say that, it is absurd. Ramanuja ridicules the Upanishadic teaching of Advaita using a straw man. If everything is one Brahman, then Krishna or the teacher is teaching their own reflection. Today in 19th out of 100, we will turn the mirror back on Ramanuja's own argument because he thinks he is attacking Jagadguru Adi Shankara Acharya, but he is actually attacking the Vedanta Shastra itself. Advaitam is Satyam. This is Śruti. This is understood by the Veda Vakyas of the Jnanakanda portion, not an invention of a Sampradaya. Upanishads declare Sarvam Brahma Eva, and Bhagavad Gita Smriti also says Vasudeva Sarvam Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Sarvabhutastham Ekastham Anupashyati. Remember, all these are not written by Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya. Remember, the sectarians often use the argument saying that Advaitins hold on to the Abheda Vakyas, the sentences talking about non-duality, and we hold on to the Bheda Vakyas, the sentences talking about duality. In fact, this is the most ridiculous argument, and the main intention of this argument is to place themselves along with the Advaitins. Really, what they don't want you to know is, no Bheda Vakya of Śruti talks about Vaikuntha. No Bheda Vakya of Śruti talks about the deity Vishnu being Param Brahma. No Bheda Vakya of Śruti talks about achieving Param Brahma through Prapatti. No Bheda Vakya of Śruti talks about plurality of jivas. No Bheda Vakya of Śruti supports Pancharatra. So saying we hold on to the Bheda Vakya of Śruti is a foolish thing to say, but rather they should say we hold on to the Pancharatra. For us, the Pancharatric theology is paramount, whereas for Advaitins, Śruti is Pramana. Śruti and Smriti themselves use many ways of presenting Advaita, and one such is the Pratibimba Vada. And if Ramanuja calls it ridiculous or absurd, then who is to blame? Is it Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya? No, he is ridiculing the true Vedic wisdom of non-dual self. Why? Because Pancharatra has to be protected at any cost. The sectarian Sri Vaishnava has to be established as a mainstream Sanatan Dharma. This exposes their agenda. Remember, Sanatan Dharma is Vaidika Dharma, where Shanmatas are talked about. And if one of the Shanmata thinks that we represent the entirety of Sanatan Dharma, they are not just being foolish, also being destructive and racist in nature. Here it is clear that Ramanuja took the Pratibimba Vada as real. This seeming confusion can be resolved by any beginner student of Vedanta. If Pratibimba Vada is real, then that Brahman as Param is not understood. Para is revealed as Brahman in our Shastra. Para is not revealed as a Vada. So if Ramanuja chooses to take the Vada as real and then ridicules it, that only points out he has never understood Vedanta. When you convert the teaching device into metaphysical reality, then the absurdity is your own creation. Ramanuja keeps saying, iti vaktavyam, iti prashtavyaste. These Advaitins have to be questioned this way. Today I'm going to question Ramanuja and his own clan in the same style. Let's start. When Brahman is constantly revealed as Para Nirguna, Bhagavad Gita clearly says, Ye chaiva sattvika bhavaha rajasastamasaschaye mattaha eva iti tan vidhi nattoham teshu te mai guna bhoktur san nirgunam brahma eva param tat gneyam nasat tannasat. Then how come these great scholarly minds have concluded that Param Brahman is a deity Vishnu? Iti prashtavyaste. These people have to be questioned. When there are hundreds of Vakyas of Bhagavad Gita directly revealing the goal of Jivan Mukti, then how is it that you reject the whole teaching of the Gita and prove an afterlife moksha? Iti prashtavyaste. These people have to be questioned. In the Atma Jnanam section of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita from 211 to 230, Bhagavan Krishna is talking about the true nature of the self where he says Avinashitu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam. How can that Avinashitvam belong to Atma, and why yena sarvamidam tatam is not applicable for Atma, which reveals Atma as Brahman, iti prashtavyaste. These people have to be questioned. If moksha is really reaching deity Vishnu's loka after death, then what is the use of Vedanta Shastra, the Jnana Kanda portion of Veda? And this reaching of Vishnu loka is an outcome of Bhakti Prapatti, then this whole knowledge of Vedanta Shastra becomes useless. Then tell me something, Bhagavan could have given us just Pancharatra and not the Vedas. Why burden humanity by giving Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda when you don't really need knowledge? Iti prashtavyaste. This has to be asked. When Bhagavan Krishna clearly declares Vasudeva Sarvam, how have you bracketed it and fit it within the fivefold structure of the Pancharatra? Iti prashtavyaste. These people have to be questioned. This is not just interpretation, it is clear manipulation. We have seen many beautiful things in our life, yet we still find ourselves suffering. If the memory of a beautiful sight, or if I continue to see something beautiful, still my problems don't go away, then that clearly points out that seeing something beautiful won't solve my suffering. If Bhagavan Krishna really thought seeing a beautiful thing will make Arjuna get up and fight, then Bhagavan Krishna would not have taught Arjuna the non-dual teaching, but would have just shown him something beautiful. Then how is it that you are saying that seeing Vishnu in Vaikuntha, having the first darshana of Vishnu, one is free? Iti prashtavyaste. Isn't it illogical to say seeing something solves my problem? Isn't that sight of Vishnu equivalent to all other sights? If that sight is different and this sight is different, what is that Vishesha, that distinguishing factor between that sight of Vishnu and any other beautiful sight, has to be specified by you. These people have to be questioned. If experience solved the sorrow, we would all have been liberated already. Ramanuja ridiculed and mocked Advaita, saying, does a teacher teach their own reflection? But today, the questions which should be asked are, how Nirguna Para Brahma became a deity, how Yena Sarvamidam Tatam became Sarvadeha Tatam, how hundreds of verses of Bhagavad Gita talk about Jivan Mukti by knowledge are rejected. To prove your goal of afterlife, why reduce Vasudeva Sarvam, the description of Bhagavan as everything, to one of the Pancharatric forms? Why make Vedanta useless by talking about an afterlife promise, where actually Vedanta is to solve problem here and now? How does experience of something, sight of something, smell of something make me ever free? On the contrary, the description of a Jivan Mukta is Atmaniyeva Atmana Tushta, not Tushta by a sight. These are real absurdities. Not Pratibimba Vada, not Advaita. If you mock Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita to defend Pancharatra, you're not fighting Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya, you're not fighting Advaitins. You are fighting Veda itself, which makes you a Vedic. Om Tat Sat.